Everyone, Lens here, and today I want to talk about YouTube. So for more than 5 years I've been running a filmmaking channel on YouTube and I've just passed 50,000 subscribers, which is crazy, so thank you so much. So I thought it was a good time to make a video where I can share my tips and experience, as well as my personal opinion on doing this as a business. So I will touch on the things that I love about YouTube, and I will even share my AdSense revenue just to be completely transparent with you. And I will also share the things that I hate about YouTube, especially when it comes to filmmaking, and I will be brutally honest. So hopefully this video gives you a bit more information if you're already starting your YouTube channel, or a bit of motivation and inspiration to start one. Before I start, as always, don't forget to subscribe to see more videos like this one, and let's get into it. This video is sponsored by Artlist. So first of all, let me give you a quick summary of my channel if you're not familiar with it. So for the past 5 years or so, I've been sharing filmmaking content and mostly my documentary work, as well as gear videos. In addition to my finished projects as well as camera and lens reviews, I also share a bit of travel content, and most of my work revolves around blackmagic cameras. The reason I started YouTube is that I have always loved sharing content about cameras and filmmaking in general. Before YouTube, I used to work with direct clients and agencies a lot, but in my time off, I always made sure to create passion projects that I would share online. And on the side, I often engage in gear conversations, whether it was with clients or friends, family, and on forums online. In September 2018, I was waiting to get my BMPCC 4K, and since I knew that I would most likely get one of the first ones in the world, I was like, maybe this is a good time to start YouTube, so I did, and it was a great decision. I had a lot of views straight away, and it didn't take me long to get monetized. I think it took about a month or so. It was a great first experience. People were there, they were watching, they were interacting. It was a busy first 2 months, but it was worth it. After a couple of years, COVID was a good reason for me to keep doing it, and having a kid in 2021, an even bigger one. It took me a while to be in front of the camera because I'm quite an introvert person, and if you watch my first videos where I talk in front of the camera, please don't, it really shows. My goal with YouTube was always to share genuine and informative videos, and videos that I would watch myself, and videos that I also liked and enjoyed to create. It was never about making YouTube a big portion of my business and income. I personally always considered myself as a filmmaker that happens to be on YouTube. Now I want to share some tips with you if you want to create a similar channel. Don't try to emulate someone or create work that isn't you. If you intend to do YouTube properly, you have to be yourself, you have to be authentic, and you have to be natural. For example, I'm not an overly excited person when I talk in front of the camera, that's just the way that I am. The only difference between me on YouTube and me in real life is that I swear a lot more in real life. In my opinion, making YouTube videos, especially when it comes to filmmaking, should be about giving information and creating entertainment. I want people to get something out of my videos for the time that they spent. And yes, of course, TikTok videos and vlogging videos are very popular, but I think when it comes to filmmaking, it should be about experience and concrete value. This is something that I tell people all the time when they ask me what they should do if they start a YouTube channel. Do not put too much pressure on you, especially at the start. See what works for you, what doesn't, and what you actually enjoy. The more pressure you put, the more disappointed you will be if something doesn't work the way you thought it would. This is something that I'm still working on, for example, as I spend way too much time per video. Personally, it started as a hobby years ago, long before I properly did it, but it evolved gradually in that way, and business wasn't the goal at the start. But I do think it helps making a difference as early as you can, because it will dictate the amount of effort, energy, and time that you allocate to YouTube. On YouTube, consistency is key, and not just in terms of like uploading, but also in terms of the content. So for me, for example, I'm not doing a very good job at it because I share a lot of like filmmaking things and then travel and a bunch of different other stuff. So I think if I was to start fresh now, I would probably split my channel into two, one for filmmaking, one for travel. I think your channel, whether it's filmmaking or not, will grow a lot quicker if you do similar content because your retention will be higher and the rate of returning subscribers will also be higher. I used to make one video per week, but it was way too much pressure. And I did that for a few years, but I highly recommend not to do it because you will quickly burn out like I did. and the content will suffer and yourself as well. Plan ahead and leave a bit of room. And you also don't need to post every week either. This is something that I've learned and I've done recently. It actually doesn't really make a difference, especially I think when you've had enough work posted. You don't need to post every week. It's better to have better content when you take the time that you actually enjoy. If it's twice a month, then so be it. But don't fall into that trap that it's not a race. If every week doesn't work for you, don't do it. I think it goes without saying, but be nice. I always try to respond to all of the comments, even when I receive hundreds per week. I see so many YouTubers and filmmakers either being rude on YouTube or ignoring their audience. And I think that's not the right way to go about it. The reason that you have a YouTube channel, that you have a business, is because of that audience, because they made it possible, so respect them. I think if you intend to do YouTube regularly, the thing that you need, and it's one of the biggest tips I can give you, is to have a dedicated space for it. It doesn't have to be a whole room, especially at the start, but just like a desk or having a permanent light, basically anything that is going to help you to shoot quicker, especially at the start when you probably have another business or job on the side. Make sure that you are quick to do your videos, that you spend time in writing and doing it instead of just prepping. I think this is similar to what I said earlier. You need to find your style. You need to find the person that you are on YouTube. And that will quickly and organically happen because you'll soon realize what you like to do, what you like to share, and what you're comfortable with as well. You will find your tone, your way of speaking in front of the camera. If you do, you can also do voiceover. This is something that I tell people: if you're not comfortable, do voiceover. You will find a structure in which you write your videos and present your videos as well. I like to do, part 1, part 2, part 3. I even put them as my titles. That helps me make sure I create compelling and informative videos and a complete video. But not everyone is like that. Some people can just read one line and talk for half an hour and still give value every single minute. Okay, this is a tricky one, and sometimes it is a hard one for viewers and people to understand. Aside from direct collaborations, in order to create regular videos and to run YouTube as a business, you need sponsors. Unless, of course, you're pulling 1 million views a month, you cannot rely solely on AdSense revenue. So for example, I make around 500 USD per month just based on AdSense revenue, and that equals to 100 to 150,000 views per month. So it's not a huge amount of views, but it's also not nothing, and that gives you a little bit of an idea of how much you actually need to pull in terms of views and traffic to be able to generate enough for you to run YouTube as a business solely on AdSense revenue without any help from sponsors or direct collaborations. As you can see, $500 a month is not enough if you really intend to create regular content, and especially if you want to create good content, you need sponsors to be able to help you to take the time to make the videos that you want to make. I would say when it comes to sponsors, to always pick brands that align with your work, yourself, and your channel, so it is still relevant to you and your audience. Personally, over the years, I've worked mainly with 2 brands, and I usually do around 12 to 15 sponsored videos per year. This allows me to have visibility and stability so I can plan ahead and keep going. And speaking of sponsors, here's a quick word about today's sponsor, Artlist. So I've been working with Artlist for many years now, pretty much from the start, and they are a big reason that the channel is still going. If you don't know what Artlist is, it's a platform that I use for all of my music and SFX, whether it is for my documentary work or for my travel and YouTube content. And they have recently launched a new feature called VoiceOver. This is a tool that allows you to simply create voiceover for your work by just using text. It is super easy to use and nicely laid out. All you have to do is type the text and choose the voice that corresponds the best to your project. You have several options and you can quickly try them.
Blooming. Captivating. In the frozen Arctic, amidst the serene beauty of sunlit.
You can search by gender or category like commercials or trailers, and you can even adjust the settings of the voice, such as the emotional range. And as with music and SFX, you can save the voiceover in the different versions in a catalog and download them. Let me show you some examples.
High amongst the peaks of the French Alps, the summer has started to show its first signs. The snow is slowly melting and the pastures are turning green.
High amongst the peaks of the French Alps, the summer has started to show its first signs. The snow is slowly melting and the pastures are turning green.
I think this is a very useful feature, especially for non-English speakers. As a filmmaker, this means that you can actually create full short documentaries or commercials or anything that you want with voiceover in case you don't feel confident to do it yourself or if you don't have the budget to hire someone to do it. I also see this being a great asset when you pitch to brands or agencies, as you are able to make them understand the final piece a bit better. And during the pre-production phase, it can also be useful to check if a male or female voice suits better, and it allows you to test tones and cadence as well. If you're interested, be sure to check out the link in the description to get an extra 2 months when you subscribe to Artlist for the yearly plan. Now let's talk about the things that I love about YouTube. The flexibility. So YouTube allows me to pay for my house, for my car, to provide for my family, but the most important thing is that it allows me to be here with my family as much as I want. Of course, I have clients and deadlines, but most of the time I can pick my own projects the day that I shoot, and I have a lot of flexibility when it comes to the actual work that I want to do and how I want to do it. Obviously, this is something that doesn't happen right at the start, but if you do happen to get to the point where you can run YouTube as a business like I do, it's one of the biggest pros for me. The community. Having a YouTube audience, especially in the filmmaking topic and genre, is usually a very good experience. It allows me to meet people from different parts of the world, people doing different projects, and hopefully I'm able to help some of them with my videos. And obviously YouTube also allows me to connect with brands and companies that I would have never worked with otherwise. I still pinch myself that I get to do this as a job. Since I was a little kid, I've always been into movies and gear and cameras and filmmaking in general, so this matters a lot to me. Of course, I've put the effort over the years and the time and the energy, and there were a few sacrifices as well, and it's not easy to work from home and to be your own boss and your own marketing person and your own editor, filmmaker, colorist. But I feel very grateful to be able to test cameras and lenses and to travel to interesting places to document interesting people and lives as a job. Passion projects. One of the biggest reasons that I love doing YouTube is that it allows me to create and fund my passion projects. Thanks to my audience and the sponsors, I am able to create the videos that I want the way that I want, which is extremely important and rare outside of that world. And sometimes when I have a specific idea that requires funding, more than I can afford myself, I can actually bring the sponsors and use the YouTube channel to raise some fund to actually make it happen, like I did with a cycling documentary about my grandfather. I was able to bring in people that I like to work with and trust, and brands that I trust as well, to create something that was special, and it did extremely well. So I'm very, very grateful for that aspect, that it allows me to turn my passion projects into actual commercial work. And it's not just about the money, obviously, it's also having access to the gear and spend less money. It still takes time in pre-production to reach out to people, and I still need to pitch and things like that, but I have that ability to make things happen that come directly from me the way that I want. This is huge in terms of flexibility, but also for me as a creative person. Real growth. I think YouTube is a great platform when it comes to organic growth. There's something special and quite addictive about sharing your content and seeing your audience grow. And now that I got to 50,000, this is insane. And again, thank you so much. I never thought that it would get to that point, but I'm really glad it did. And it doesn't feel like I've been doing this for more than 5 years now, but yeah, I'm super grateful. Okay, so now let's talk about the things that I hate or that I don't like about YouTube. This is not just a rant, these are my honest opinion and feelings after doing it for nearly 6 years. And I want to be completely honest. The first thing that I hate, and I think probably the most frustrating for me, is clickbait content. I think it's really bad, especially in the filmmaking bubble. I really hate when people pretend to hold a camera, for example, that they don't even have, or they pull stupid faces because apparently that's what people need to do online. To me, this means that as a creator or filmmaker or YouTuber, you treat your audience like idiots and you trick them. And it gets even worse where creators are using titles like "you're doing it wrong" or "let me show you how it's done," assuming that they know better. You're still on YouTube. Everyone is at different levels. If you got to a point and you've got, 1 million followers, good on you. But don't treat your audience like they're just mindless people. Just be respectful, and certainly do not consider yourself to be Roger Deakins or Greg Fraser just because you've made a couple of videos. We're all learning, we're all evolving. I found this so lame and pretentious. There's also a trend that I see with some creators that they just copy and paste the same title across their channel on different videos just because it worked well. And this is kind of like, again, it's like a trick to bring some people in the audience to see what the video actually is about. How about you create some useful content first, you know? I've seen that even with people like grabbing titles from other people's video just because he did well on their channel, thinking that it's going to do the same on their own. Long story short, be you, treat the audience nicely, act like a normal person. The other thing that I hate is when YouTubers and filmmakers make reviews about gear that they actually don't use or don't know. I've said this before, I've commented this on different videos, and I've had this conversation with so many people, but I think there's a major issue on YouTube about filmmakers reviewing gear that they actually don't use themselves, that they don't know, and they just basically keep changing brands every week just to get views and traffic. To me on YouTube, if you are going to review cameras, you need to know how to use the camera and you need to have a real use for it so you can actually give your audience an educated review. Otherwise, it's just a first impression or your thoughts on it, but it can't really be a review. So personally, for example, I only review gear that I know I need for a specific project or gear that will complement my kit in a genuine way for my documentary work. In my opinion, if you make reviews or discuss a product, you need to bring value with tangible and useful examples. If you do YouTube long enough, you will have to endure entitled people. This is of course a very small portion of my viewers, but still. For the type of content that I personally do, it usually comes in a form of a sentence like this one. There is an ad or a sponsor, so I want to watch your videos. It takes days to make a video, especially camera reviews. How do you think us filmmakers on YouTube can actually function working for free? Just to give you an idea, it takes me on average 4 full days to make one video. And like I said, I'm going to be brutally honest, but if you are one of those people that are always complaining about ads, about sponsored videos, when was the last time that you spent 4 days for free and you made something to actually help people or entertain people? Just let me know. People always assume that YouTubers are loaded, they have heaps of money just because you've got a few vloggers and personalities with like millions of followers that create stupid content just for shock value and are actually pulling millions. This is not the case for us. I'm just on my own in my studio doing as much as I can, the best as I can, but I need support. As filmmakers on YouTube, we want to be able to share useful information and our experience, but in order to do this, we need to take the time to do it, but we also need to get compensated for our time because it is our job. It's easy, you get it for free. This is something that I always get as well, and it's quite frustrating. I don't get gear for free. I get gear in exchange for my time, energy, effort, skills, and audience reach. There's a big difference. And if I don't get to keep the gear, then I will have to get paid directly from the client, or I will have to have this video sponsored. And if none of these options are possible, then I just won't do it. And the last thing that I would say about the gear issue is that if you want gear or free gear, then create your own channel. Again, this is something that I get a lot. I get paid for my time and experience, not to be biased. I say no to 95% of the requests that I get. I get approached every single day to review gear. And like I said, I do it only if it's going to complement my kit or if I actually need it for specific projects. But regardless of the brand and company, I will always say what I like, but also what I don't like about that product. And I will always make sure to give actual examples based on my work. Again, when I do reviews, it's about me, my experience, and the gear that I use. And some people tell me, yeah, but you're biased, you know you're gonna like it. Well, yeah, some of the stuff I know I'm probably gonna like a new lens by DZO or a new camera by Blackmagic because I've been using them for years. But if there's something that bothers me about the camera or the lens, I will say it. If something that I don't like, I will say it. Watch my videos, I'm always honest. It's normal to gravitate towards products that we are familiar with as filmmakers on YouTube because that's what we use. So it's not being biased. I've been using them for years. It's normal that I'm going to gravitate towards those brands, but I don't review Sony cameras. I don't review Panasonic cameras. I'm not saying this is the best camera, you should buy it. This is the best lens, you should buy it. I'm making a review on my experience with that product, and I will say what I like, what I don't like. My goal is to create videos for you guys that I would personally watch, where the creator had enough time to make the video useful and genuine. So YouTube is both fun and frustrating, and it is a lot harder than it seems, but it is rewarding. If you are thinking or considering doing your own YouTube channel already, it means that you have something to share, and you probably should. Just be you, try not to put too much pressure, and just have a go. There's actually not a lot to lose, especially at the start, aside from time and energy, but there's a lot to gain if you persevere and actually enjoy it. That's it for me for today, guys. Hopefully you find this video helpful. Let me know if you've got any questions in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Also, feel free to check out my 2 ebooks, Freelance Documentary Filmmaking and Travel Cinematography, where you can find a streamlined but comprehensive overview from pre-production all the way to marketing, built on years of my own experience shooting short documentaries and travel videos around the world. And if you are interested, I'm also doing filmmaking mentoring sessions when you can ask me anything about a wide variety of topics.